We are live, finally. Let's see. Let me go to YouTube so I can see your guys' comments. Your channel, live stream, turn down the volume. Alright, so, let's see. We got Jake here. We got RMS Queen Mary. Hello, Tyler. Hello, Aaron Estrada. Let's see. Hello, Savannah. Hey, Alex, it's your new best friend. How is the Queen Mary today? Queen Mary's doing okay for now. Stable condition, I should say. So, sorry I'm late. As you know, I'm doing a live stream tomorrow with the team at QMI Restore the Queen, and we're going to be discussing some of the real problematic issues that are happening right now with the ability to involve QMI in restoring the ship. You know, all they want is to help restore the ship, raise money for it, you know, all that kind of thing. And so tomorrow we're going to be discussing that, and today I had to meet up with them so that way I could adjust the live stream settings so that way we could capture all of our images well and everything looks nice and tidy for tomorrow. So that's why I was running a little bit late, but I do have some of this stuff set up and we're going to start making... I haven't brought the cucumber sandwich out of the fridge yet, so you'll see me do all of that. I have to do some setting up here. So I will be slightly off camera for a second, but I'll still be here. So let me see. You guys will at least be able to see how I cut up the sandwich. That's my live stream happening right there. No, I don't want you guys to see my screen. There we go. Okay. So, okay. I will need to heat these up with tap water. Fill that up in just a second. Alright. That's the tea. So today is Earl Grey. I'm trying to... It's so hard for you guys to read that. Twinings Earl Grey. Anyway, that's what we're having today. Now I'm going to heat the teacup and the teapot in the hottest tap water I have. There we are. Hot tap water inside. And now I will need to cut the sandwich. I was going to show you guys how to make the sandwich today, but I knew I wouldn't have time, so I just made it ahead of time. Sandwich here. Besides, the sandwich does need to chill for about an hour. It makes it impossible to cut up the sandwich if you don't chill it. All these tea sandwiches are the same way. They're much better if you chill them. Alrighty. So, long sawing strokes with the bread knife to get a nice clean cut. now we cut them into fingers. Just use the weight of the knife to cut all the way through, or else you'll ruin the sandwich. Just use the weight of the knife. Alrighty. That's good. Have one of these here. That's delicious. Okay. Pretty sure that's everything I need. If I have extra sugar left over from when I do another tea time, I cover it with a paper towel so it doesn't, because it's very humid where I live. It's cold humidity, but it's humid. And I don't like the sugar sticking together. There we go. Nice and loose. The paper towel, I don't know exactly what it does, but it absorbs the humidity, so 1 spoon for the sugar. 1 spoon for the tea. Okay. Let's see. Hello, Kraken Teeth Gaming. Yeah, the video tomorrow is going to be really good. There's some really interesting stuff in there, honestly, about what's going on behind the scenes, and it's meant to be informative, but you'll also find that it's not at all boring. I'll tell you that much. I don't want to say entertaining, because unfortunately the Queen Mary is at the heart of all the stuff that's happening, but it won't be boring, I'll put it that way. So first I'm going to remove half of the hot tap water, because if you're new to China, I mean the dishes China, they need to be pre-warmed so that way they don't crack from the shock. It is like 60 degrees in my house right now. It's very cold. Where I live is just a very cold place. But let's see. So we fill it about halfway with the boiling water, with some of the hot tap water still in there, just as an intermediate temperature to kind of bring up the temperature. So, Charlie says, can you let us try a cucumber sandwich by putting the camera up to it? Yeah, sure. Let's see which one's the closest one to the edge. This one. Here you go. Yum, 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 yum. Yeah. I like to slice the cucumbers thick, but you can slice them thin if you want. I think each time I make a cucumber sandwich, I end up using half of the cucumber, not the whole thing, just half. So you can get 2 sandwiches out of 1 cucumber. Jake says, I guess this is noon tea for me. Yeah. Mark says, it's morning tea for me. I'm in Australia. Alex asks, the tea at a later hour doesn't cause insomnia? No, it doesn't have that much caffeine, not compared to coffee. So it's actually not that bad. But, I mean, I wouldn't have tea at like 11 p.m. because I usually sleep at like midnight. But I wouldn't have tea at like 11 p.m. I wouldn't have it before bed. But technically you could, and there shouldn't be an issue. You shouldn't get insomnia. Alright. So, we emptied the hot water out of that. Oh, I was going to bring that up to a boil real quick. Just because it's so cold in here, the water immediately loses heat. So, there we go. Yeah. And we drop the water in. So that's the full boiling water. And then we add the tea, and we'll let that steep. I like to steep it for 5 minutes. I just like the tea really robust. That was a mistake. There we go. Why am I having trouble today of all days? Whatever. Alright, so 4:30 is when the tea will be ready. Well. Yeah, Cunard, what is cornflower blue? I've never heard of that. Cornflower blue. Arms Queen Mary says, what ships is the Lucania? That name sounds familiar to the one that Olden von Johann von Oldenbarnevelt used to be Laconia. So it's Holland America line, if that's the one you're asking for. Mark says, we sailed San Fran to Brisbane on the Queen Elizabeth for 30 days. 30 times high teas just like this one. Yeah, I haven't done a high tea yet, but I do love afternoon teas. RG says, did you see, since the Queen Mary is deteriorating, they're covering it with gray plastic? No. It's not. I would have been told by the QMI team if it was being covered in plastic. Let's see. Ivan Joseph asks, hi Alex, was the spruce goose made entirely of wood? I mean, you can't say 100%, but mostly wood. It did have a few metal straps here and there, and of course the engines and the pulling gear and all that was metal. And then the outside of the aircraft was covered in a type of canvas. So it was like 99% wood, but yeah, it was made of birch. Charlie says, which cucumbers do you recommend? The girthy ones or the longer ones? I think that traditionally you would use an English cucumber, which has a better taste than American cucumbers. I could purchase English cucumbers at the grocery store, but they cost more. And, yeah. They say the American ones make you burp, though, which is kind of true. The American ones do make you burp. But I think ultimately it doesn't really matter what cucumber you use. But if you're going for authenticity, English cucumbers. Matthew Conway says, "Can you please tell me the recipe for those sandwiches?" It's really simple. There's really no recipe. You mix 2 parts cream cheese with 1 part mayonnaise, and then you chop up some dill and put it in there. I usually use about a tablespoon of chopped dill, but you can put a little bit less, you know. And then a pinch of garlic powder, a pinch of salt. Mix that together. Lay the spread on the bread, and then slice up some cucumbers into planks, not circles. Planks work better. And then you lay those and stack them into the sandwich, and then you're done. So it's really not much of a thing, and really you might find that you'll want more cream cheese, less cream cheese, more garlic powder, less garlic powder. You'll kind of figure it out for yourself, but that's essentially what it is. And then I have a video that I made of how to make the sandwich. I just haven't posted it on my Alex Adner channel yet because I've been so busy with this channel. So let's see. Cunard says, "Alex, now that you've implemented tea into your routine, has it been long enough to change the pace of your life? Do you know why why Katharine Hepburn had tea? What are the benefits?" I actually have noticed a different change in pace of my life. I've actually had a lot less anxiety because, you know, every day I take a moment at 4 p.m. to just relax and have tea. Normally, if I'm really busy, I burn through the day just working on videos. I just burn through the whole day without stopping. You know, I think at most, the most I've ever done was stopped and made myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something, and then just literally burn through the whole day. But I have to stop every day at 4 and have tea. I don't have this whole setup like I do every single day, just for live streams, but I do make myself a mug of tea, and then I have like maybe some shortbread or something. But it is nice because it forces me to relax. It forces me to stop thinking about videos and stuff and stop stressing. Because believe me, I do stress over trying to get the videos out fast enough. But yeah, it has helped, and I actually get better sleep now that I have a routine. So I'd say it's actually improved my life. Alex asks, "Does your place have central air and heating?" No. I do have heating. I don't have air conditioning. Most houses and apartments in northern Oregon and the Pacific Northwest don't have air conditioning because it's usually cold here year round. So yeah, most people don't have air conditioning. But we do have heating, plenty of it, and our walls are a foot thick for insulation, which is thicker than, you know, when I was used to in Southern California. But what was I saying? Yeah, so but I do have heating. I don't turn the heating on because it wastes so much electricity having the heating on. Like, my bill was a bit more expensive last month than I thought it would be. So I'm like, well, you know, I can deal with the cold. I would much rather be cold than be hot. So what I do is I dress in layers. I have extra blankets on my bed when I sleep at night. And, you know, and I drink, you know, hot tea for breakfast, sometimes for tea time, and for lunch, for dinner time. So, you know, so I stay warm that way. If it got ridiculously cold, like if it was snowing outside right now, yeah, I'd have the heater on, because there is a point where, you know, don't be cheap and just use the heat so you don't die. So yeah, but I'm fine. Let's see. Ivan asks, "Do you play Wordle?" No, I don't know what that is. RG says, is it a good idea to let the water simmer for a bit before adding the metal? I don't think metal is part of the ingredients. Conrad says, I thought cornflower blue was bright, leaning to purple. Yeah, I've never heard that before. Tyler says, I spell insomnia in Zombia. Yeah, I hear you. El Nino says, LOL, I don't know why, but I'm really curious to see how your balcony looks and what views looks like. I find balconies and verandas interesting. Sorry, I can't show you, because I don't want to reveal exactly where I live. And, yeah, there is a certain amount of privacy I do like, even though I'm on YouTube every day. Let's see. Matthew says, what's going on Queen Mary right now? Just repairs are still happening. They're still settling on who's going to take lifeboats and when. There's really not much news in terms of news, but there is stuff happening behind the scenes, which is why tomorrow we're going to cover all that on the live stream, because there's just a lot of stuff happening that the public needs to be aware of, that the public is not currently aware of. And they need to know how the city is treating the ship and who they are associating themselves with and that kind of thing. So just tune in tomorrow for the live stream. It'll be about an hour long, and then afterwards we'll do a Q&A with people who are in the live stream, so that way they can ask their questions. Yeah, so speaking of that, is there anybody, like Jake or anybody, Conrad or somebody who wants to watch the live stream tomorrow and be a moderator in the chat of that live stream? Because that live stream is likely going to attract people who are not already subscribed to my channel, and they're going to say ridiculous things. They're going to behave ridiculously. So I need moderators for that live stream tomorrow. It's happening at 4 p.m. Pacific time on my Alex the Historian channel, and I really need people to help moderate the chat. So for like a whole hour and a half, because I think it's an hour of interview and maybe up to 20, maybe up to 30 minutes of Q&A questions for the people at QMI. Oh. All right. Charlie, I am going to ask that you try to keep your comments family friendly. Alex says no sweater today, not that cold. It's cold, but not that cold. I think I feel fine with just, normal shirt and shorts. I like the cold though. Like, I think the coldest for me is 55 degrees is when I start thinking about putting on a sweater, honestly. I don't feel that cold at anything above that. So, Matthew Conway says, I've heard Long Beach wants to keep the Queen Mary for 100 years. What happens to her after that? It's not about whether they want to keep her for 100 years. It's whether or not the restoration will be good enough that she lasts for another 100 years. There's no telling how long they want to keep her. I mean, I assume as long as she's still floating. So if she lasts forever, then they keep her forever. I don't know. But the restoration work they want to do will be so intense that she should be able to last for another 100 years. So I say intense, but that's just my short way of saying there's going to be a lot of work done. So I have a habit of speaking in slang. Beluga Brody says, "Hey Alex, why did Titanic have White Star buff?" Because that was the generic White Star colors for their um, for their what are they called? The funnels. I feel like I'm not correctly in the screen. Alex says, "Did you hear that the rumors at Long Beach doesn't care about what happens to the Queen Mary and is curious to see it just rot as an experiment in ships degrading?" I think you made that up. No, they... So, it is kind of complicated. The city of Long Beach does care about the Queen Mary to a certain extent. They care that it's not causing any more issues with the environment and with the city. I think the city sees it more as a monetary value kind of thing. They care enough that they don't want it to cost more money if they let it degrade. Do they care about it, the Queen Mary's history? I think they care more about whether the Queen Mary's pulling in tourism than they care about the Queen Mary's history. But yes, to a certain extent they do care. And no, they're not trying to let it degrade. If they were, they wouldn't have started repairs, a month ago in February. That right there should tell you that it's not true. Because they're repairing it right now. And there are plans to give it give ownership of it to the Port Authority, and the Port Authority will continue with Phase 2 of the repairs, whenever that may be. But they'll continue with Phase 2 of the repairs to help the ship last another 100 years. It's not an experiment. That's really silly, because the Environmental Protection Agency would be all over that and fine the city millions of dollars for letting something like that just rot in the harbor. In fact, they probably should have already done that, but they haven't. Hello, Fox Starline. Thomas asks, what tea is it today? Today it is Earl Grey. RG says, Alex, do you think since Snoop Dogg is from Long Beach, he should buy and restore the Queen Mary so it can sail again, or make it affordable housing to help homeless shelter local? No, I don't think so. First of all, Snoop Dogg doesn't really care about the Queen Mary. He's got other things in his life. And besides, no one can buy the Queen Mary right now. She's not for sale. The other thing, too, is that she'll never sail again. She is legally under contract to never sail again because Cunard doesn't want her to. And even if you wanted to do that, she would literally, by the time you finished restoring her to make her sailable, she would look like a modern cruise ship. She wouldn't look anything like the Queen Mary we see today at all. Nothing. Zip. Zero. There's no way. So it really doesn't, yeah. And I wouldn't want the Queen Mary to be a homeless shelter, because that'd be like turning the Statue of Liberty into a homeless shelter. It's not right. It should be a museum. It should remain a museum. You wouldn't want to turn the Eiffel Tower into a homeless shelter. You wouldn't want to turn... these are iconic things all over the world, and the Queen Mary is one of them. She's had such an important history. It would be so degrading to see her turned into, like, apartments or affordable housing or a homeless shelter. She's meant as a museum to teach people about the past. You can't do that when you completely just gut her and turn her into affordable housing. It's just silly. Alright, Jake, well, if you're going to watch tomorrow, then you can be a moderator. Alex, I'm not sure about making you a moderator. Sometimes I wonder if we have to moderate you. I'm just joking, but still. Okay, Jennifer Jennifer is now a moderator. Okay. And then Conrad. I've known Conrad for a while. I trust Conrad with being a moderator. And we'll do Thomas as well. Okay. Hey Linda, how's it going? Armis Queen Mary says, how does a ship float? Scientifically speaking, it's about the amount of buoyancy a ship can produce. So you want to make it so a ship creates enough of a void in the water that it makes up for the weight of the ship, and the water will push up on the ship. If there isn't enough of a void and the ship is weighing down too much, it'll sink. So it's all about buoyancy. It's kind of really complicated, and to be honest, I'm not entirely certain about how the hydrodynamics work, but it is based on buoyancy. Ken says, check out the big broadcast of 1938 with Bob Hope. It's a spoof on the Queen Mary Normandy rivalry. It's really corny but funny at the same time. It's on YouTube. Okay, I'll check that out. That's really cool. El Nino asks, was Cafe Parisienne and the Palm Courts only for first-class passengers? Yes, it was. Only for first class. Ivan Joseph, yeah, I haven't had any progress on the train layout because I've been so busy trying to make content for the Alex the Historian channel. The Alex the Historian channel is what makes me money. If I make stuff for the other channel, it doesn't really make me any money. So I have to prioritize the Alex the Historian channel first. And for some reason, I haven't been getting very many views on my videos on this channel. I get an okay amount, but not nearly as much as I used to get. I don't know if YouTube isn't giving people notifications, or if my videos are just boring and people don't want to watch them. I don't know. Okay. Matthew says, I find it interesting that the Queen Mary first class pool was used by first and third class. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after the war, they designated it so that way first class could use it at certain times of the day, and then third class could use it at certain times of the day. And what they would do is, in between the usage of the two classes, they would drain the pool, filter out all the water, and refill the pool. And it was a saltwater pool, so it wasn't that intense to filter it. But yeah, it was just part of Cunard's way of trying to appeal to a newer generation of third class. Because after the war, people were less class divided. And so riding aboard the Queen Mary after World War II was like, too much from the past. They wanted something that offered them enough for their money. So that was one of the few things that they did. But first class also got upgrades. They added the first and second class garden lounges to the ship after the war. El Nino says, did Olympic have a Cafe Parisienne? I think it did. I'm not 100% on that, though. Okay. The live stream tomorrow is at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I think in Texas that would be 6 p.m. And then 7 p.m. if you're on the East Coast of the United States. What it is in the other parts of the world, I have no idea. Yeah, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Fox Dawning says, did you know Queen Mary and QE were switched? I love your little twist on the Titanic switch theory. Jake says, Alex, on the 1st of April, I'm going to make a Queen Mary dinner for my family from a menu I got this year. It's dated January 4th, 1940. Oh, wait, no. It's April 1st, 1948. Okay, I see. Sorry. I'm American, so when I read it the other way around. I read it month, day, year. So, okay, so April 1st, 1948. Nice. What is on that menu? What are you going to be making? Ivan Joseph says, was there watertight doors in Scotland Road? Yes, there was. Also, thank you, Ivan. Armis Queen Mary says, why was the Titanic pool in the lower decks, and why did men use it at certain times? Why did men and women use it at certain times? Back then, there was a thing that... There was something called appropriateness, and it was not necessarily appropriate for women usually to be seen in closed quarters, you know, in like swimming, bathing outfits around men. So that's probably why they would have separated them. As time went on, the idea of appropriateness and conservativeness when it came to clothing, that started to relax a little bit. But it's in the lower decks because swimming pools weigh a lot. They weigh a lot. And when you put swimming pools on the top decks of a ship, that naturally wants to make the ship more top-heavy. Of course, in today's modern age, they've found ways of mitigating that top heaviness. But back in the days of Titanic and stuff, the easiest way to prevent a ship from being too top-heavy was just to put the pool as far down into the ship as you could. And so the Queen Mary's that way as well. The Queen Mary has her pool on our deck, which used to be C deck. The chat keeps moving. Jake says, I love your videos and don't think anyone here thinks it's boring. Well, thank you. Yeah, Conrad, you're probably right. They only drained and refilled it right before first class. I wouldn't doubt that either. Um, Star Wars says, would you like some Disneyland cabbage to go along with that? No, thanks. Um, Jennifer asked, the live stream is going to be on this channel? Yes. In fact, it should appear somewhere on my channel. It's already scheduled, so you can like click a button and that will let you be notified when it goes live. It should be on the channel front page, but I personally don't know because whenever I tune into my own front page, my upcoming live streams don't ever appear in there. So I don't know if it does for you guys, but hey Glenn, how's it going? Jake says, I'm going to make roast quarter lamb and boiled potatoes. Oh, wow. That sounds really good. Jake, I don't mind if people have caps on. The only time I mind is if they're making inappropriate comments. So some people have caps on because of various reasons. Sometimes they, like I know someone who does caps because they have some kind of a compulsion where they feel like they can't stand reading stuff in lowercase. So I'm okay with people having compulsion. I'm okay with people having all caps as long as they're not having inappropriate comments or anything like that. Let's see. Oh wow, Glenn says, just got home from watching the Northern Lights. I live in England, but the last few months has been stunning for watching the Northern Lights where I live. The sky is green, it's stunning. Sometimes we get the Northern Lights as far down as here in Portland. And the thing is, each time though, I've never been able to see it because it's been cloudy. Every time they warn us that there will be Northern Lights as far south as down here, I get so excited, but then it's always a cloudy night and I don't see anything. RG says, I think that's why third-class passengers were on the bottom of the ship, since they weigh more than wealthy people. No. No, it's because the bottom of the ship was where everything was less comfortable. The rooms were less comfortable, the temperature was less comfortable, the noise was less comfortable. Unless you're on the Queen Mary. What's interesting about the Queen Mary is they weren't separated by level. They were separated by, like, front, middle, and stern of the ship. So, that's what's interesting. The bow area, I'm not going to say all the way at the bow, but towards the front of the ship was third class on Queen Mary. The middle of the ship was mostly first class, and then towards the stern of the ship was second class. Historically speaking, the stern of the ship was more prone to vibration, but on Queen Mary, it wasn't that bad, not compared to ships that came before it. So they felt comfortable putting second class in the stern of the ship because it was still somewhat stable back there, and while it wasn't as comfortable as where the first class area was, it was still better than being at the bow. The bow on the Queen Mary is probably one of the worst places you could be due to the rolling and the going up and down of the waves and stuff like that. That was the worst part of the Queen Mary, the bow, just going up and down constantly. Even in small waves, you still noticed it quite, quite prominently. Ivan says, if you were to board Titanic now, which room would you visit first besides the grand staircase? The first room I would visit is the first class main lounge aboard the Titanic. Because in my opinion, that is the most beautiful room on Titanic. Pookie Smoochie says, can you do more in-depth videos on specific ocean liners? Like a video series. Actually, believe it or not, I am. I'm already doing it. The problem is that the reason why I'm able to make Queen Mary videos so frequently is because I did like a whole year's worth of research before I even started my first Queen Mary video. So I already had a lot to work with. With new ocean liners, I have to start from the bottom. I have nothing. And I don't like to do just a quick Google search. That's not who I am. I like to dig deep and really research a ship. So right now I'm working on like four different ships. I think right now I'm working on Johann von Oldenbarnevelt, which will be the next one. And then I have on the list the Queen Elizabeth, the QE2, and Oceanic. Not in that order, but yeah, those are the four main ships I'm working on right now. But when I say working on it, I mean researching. I have to read books, I have to read articles, I have to literally absorb a ton of information before I can even start writing about it, because what happens is I start writing about something before I feel confident enough, and then next thing I know, I have to keep redoing the script because I end up being wrong. So that's kind of the tough part. And then I have to deal with people online who make fun of me because they're like, oh, you're not a historian, you don't know that much about this ship or that ship. And it's like, yeah, well, everybody's got to start somewhere. They have to start researching somehow, and I do my best, so it's just like, that's really good tea. I know I always say that whenever I drink Earl Grey, but it's so good. So yeah, I'm currently working on it. But the first ship that I'll be doing next is Johann von Oldenbarnevelt, which was also TSMS Laconia. But I'm still researching that one because a friend of mine, his family sailed aboard that ship, and so he's got some stories he wants to tell me, and I have to wait till I have time to talk to him and learn those stories and understand more. So, and then after the research, then I have to research images, because people want to see images of these ships, and some ships are more easy to get images of, others more difficult. So, yeah. Connor says, Alex, you mentioned watercress yesterday. Have you ever tried alfalfa sprouts? Do you think they would complement cucumber sandwiches? Well, I wouldn't put watercress in the cucumber sandwich. I would put the watercress belongs in the egg sandwich. But that being said, alfalfa sprouts, yeah, they would work in the cucumber sandwich. They would also work in the egg sandwich, maybe not as much, but I personally don't like alfalfa sprouts that much, though. So I don't generally voluntarily use them. But yeah, I do think that if you put alfalfa sprouts in there, it would work very well if you like alfalfa sprouts in the cucumber sandwich. So, yeah. Queen Mary says, if you were in the 30s, what ocean liner would you ride? RMS Queen Mary, of course. Of course. My number one favorite. I've always wished that maybe one day they'll invent a time machine and I can travel back to the 1930s, take a trip aboard the Queen Mary. Yeah, that would be great. Starboy says, last time you told us you didn't mind Disneyland coleslaw. Any new feelings on this? No, I don't mind Disneyland coleslaw. What I hate is when they put cabbage in things that don't belong. Like, that's been my biggest thing. Okay, one of my favorite restaurants at Disneyland is Rancho del Zocalo. It's the only Mexican restaurant in the entire park. They had really good food. And the one thing I always ordered was the burrito Guadalajara, which was basically a carnitas burrito. Carnitas is is like shredded pork. It's roasted shredded pork. So that was my favorite burrito. But then what they did was one day they're like, how can we make more money without actually cutting anything extra from this dish? And what they ended up doing was they put less pork. They put literally half the amount of pork that they usually put, and they filled in the rest of it so that way the burrito wasn't smaller. They filled in the rest of it, of the missing pork space, with Hawaiian cabbage slaw. Hawaiian cabbage slaw in a Mexican carnitas burrito. That does not work. It didn't taste good, and it was definitely not a good idea. It was Hawaiian because it had pineapple in it and stuff. And I'm like, this is disgusting. Why would they do that? But the answer is obvious. The reason why they did it was because they wanted to save money on pork by not putting as much pork, but they knew that they didn't want the burrito to look smaller or people wouldn't buy the dish. So they put cabbage in there instead. That's what I don't like. I don't like that they put cabbage in things all the time. But if I'm buying a plate of barbecue ribs and it comes with coleslaw on the side, I'm fine with that. I love it. I love Disneyland's coleslaw. I just don't like when they put cabbage in like everything. I had a burger with cabbage in it. I was like, you put lettuce on a burger. You don't put cabbage on a burger. But they put the cabbage in there because they knew they were going to get rid of some of the meat. It was a special kind of sandwich where they roast the beef and they shred the beef and they put it on top of the patty. And they were like, oh, we don't want to do this anymore, so we're going to substitute half the shredded beef with cabbage. And then eventually they just replaced all the shredded beef with cabbage. And I was pretty mad about that. I was like, I'm paying the same amount, but instead of getting the extra beef, the protein I'm paying for, I'm getting cabbage instead. If you want to do that, fine, but charge less, because cabbage is 100% water, well, 99% water. It just gets to me. So that's my problem with the cabbage. Let's see. Hello, Bride Vale. Hope you're doing good. El Nino says, I think Murdoch saw the iceberg before the lookouts. He probably did, honestly. He probably just kind of stood there in shock, like he couldn't really believe what he was seeing, though. Armis Queen Mary says, why did Titanic have 20 lifeboats? Because ships need lifeboats. when I was talking about the Queen Mary, Cunard was like, please don't say up and down, I'm getting pretty queasy. Matthew Conway says, I'll be in the live stream tomorrow if you want me to moderate. If not, that's okay. Yeah, I made you a moderator. Goofy Roll says, how do you feel about getting an RC ocean liner? You could drive the Queen Mary yourself. That'd be really cool, but I would have nowhere to take it. Like, literally. I have no way to get around here. I don't have a car, and everything is really far from where I live, so... Tyler Frederick says, I saw your Sleeping Beauty castle. Great work. What do you mean? Where? What are you talking about? Glenn says, I loved the smokestack funnel video that was made. Thanks. Armis Queen Mary says, what does MTS stand for on ships? MTS. I don't know. I know HMTS. HMTS is His Majesty / Her Majesty's troop ship. So, but MTS, I haven't heard of that. Let's see. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, Conrad. Tyler says, didn't Laconia burn? Yes, she did. And it's a sad but fascinating story. So that's one of the things I want to talk about in the video. Pookie Smoochie says, don't worry about being 100% perfect. This is a place where you can be creative and enjoy what you do. If you got a fact wrong, it should be a conversation point to learn new things. Oh, believe me, that's exactly how I see things. If I get stuff wrong, I'm excited to talk to people about it. The problem is with other people. The problem is when I'm wrong, people will pounce on me like I am a gazelle and they are a lion. They love to prove YouTubers wrong. And for me, it's like, I use it as a learning experience. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know that about this ship, or I didn't know that about that ship. But there are people who will just bully you for it. So that's why I try not to be wrong. I try as hard as I can to get everything right, because I know that there are people who will harass me. You know, there's even people on Facebook right now. I posted a post on Facebook that I had to delete about Queen Mary's funnels, and I still think I'm right on that, but I can't prove it enough, so I had to take it down because I couldn't prove it enough. But it had to do with the color of Queen Mary's funnels, and instead of people going like, oh, Alex, I think you're wrong and here's why, there were some people who just hounded me like as if I had said something as audacious as, like, I don't know, like Titanic never existed, or something like that. Like, you'd think I said something so shocking and so horrible that people had to take me down. And that's the thing. I don't like that competitiveness. I don't like that people see it as a competition to take down the YouTuber. It should be a learning experience. It should be, oh, Alex, you're wrong and here's why. Thankfully, there are some people who approach it that way. You know, I am actually currently, like, you know, pen pals with people on the internet who are, you know, who don't mind telling me that there's a correction to something and whatnot. And I love learning from those people. They're really great, you know, like, but yeah, and I'm good at taking criticism. I was in culinary school after all, and we literally had to keep a journal of our chef's criticisms. And if we showed any kind of anger towards criticism, we'd get a bad grade, because you're supposed to be able to take criticism. So I can take criticism. What I can't take is people who see it as a sport to, like, hunt down the YouTubers who are wrong. It's, so yeah, oh gosh, it's so difficult. Like, sometimes I wish I could show people just how difficult it is to be a YouTuber. Like, I love what I do, but it does have its hang-ups, you know? So, Buki Soji says, can you recommend a channel you watch about ocean liners? Yeah, there are two. So one of them is called The Great Big Move. I love learning about different ocean liners from that. There's also, when it comes to Titanic stuff, I like learning from Historic Travels. He has a lot of stuff about Titanic stuff. And then there's also Titanic Honor and Glory. They have a lot of really good Titanic stuff. They also have a second channel called Titanic University, where there's some other really cool things on there. When it comes to more, ocean liner stuff in general, did I mention Big Old Boats? Big Old Boats and, oh, there's one more. The Great Big Move and Big Old Boats. Those are the general ocean liner channels that I am subscribed to. And then Historic Travels for Titanic, Titanic Honor and Glory for Titanic, and Titanic University for Titanic. So 5 channels right there for you. Those are some of the channels I'm subscribed to when it comes to that. And then Fox Starline, he's on my chat. He does, what do you call it? He does podcasts talking about ocean liners and stuff like that. So you should check out him. He's in the chat as well. Fox Starline does that. Fox Starline, he's also got a Facebook page. And the reason why I mention it is because it's really cool. People post some really awesome stuff in that Facebook page. I've learned so much about ocean liners through that Facebook page. It's called Ocean Liners and More by Fox Starline. Really cool. So, yeah, check that out. So there's lots of really great people who have some awesome ocean liner stuff. Ivan says, Alex, is Noah's Ark in your top 3 ocean liners? No, but maybe it should be. I mean, if it could hold that many animals and handle a storm that lasts 40 days and 40 nights, that is one heck of a ocean liner, I'll tell you. Glenn says, Alex, you have as much right and probably more passion than most, so I trust your view over a sloppy Google research. Thank you. I do my best to really put in the work to learn stuff. I will even spend money to research stuff. I buy books and stuff on the stuff that I talk about. I think part of it too is not just that I'm afraid of getting bullied over having things wrong, but the other thing too is just because I like getting the cold hard facts. I like knowing that, oh, this is something that many people get incorrect, but I have it correct. It's kind of cool. It's kind of like my obsession with Disney stuff was that many people would get Disney things wrong. They'd have the wrong information, and then I could tell them. So, like, for instance, like, there's a common misconception about a Disney ride, Big Thunder Mountain, that the Big Thunder Mountain roller coaster cars that you sit in are reused cars from the Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, which came before it. Common misconception. Not true at all. And, in fact, you don't even have to believe me on it. You can just look up you can compare pictures of Nature's Wonderland with Big Thunder Mountain, and you'll see that the 2 passenger cars look nothing alike. They're not the same size, same shape, not even the same sculpt, and they're made of 2 completely different materials. The Mine Train to Nature's Wonderland one was made of wood. The one at Disneyland is made of fiberglass. So it's just, yeah. So there's things like that. So when I am able to get those things correct, I feel good, like I did my research well. Let's see. Gosh, I must be really behind on these comments. I'm reading all your comments, guys. I'm just trying to answer the most important ones because I seem to be getting further and further behind on this. Jake Goodwin says, Alex, what did you say about the Artemis Queen Mary's funnels? Okay, well, at the risk of starting another argument, people, there were a couple times, few brief times in the Queen Mary's operating history on the ocean where her funnels were painted red. Not orange, not yellow, like they have been red. And people don't like that because they insist that while other Cunard ships have had red funnels, the Queen Mary never had red funnels. And so the fact that the Queen Mary in Long Beach has red funnels, they think it's not historically accurate. I have a photograph of the Queen Mary from the 1950s that shows the Queen Mary with red funnels. And somebody tried to say that it was colorized, and I'm like, this particular one isn't colorized. There are pictures of Queen Mary that are colorized, yes, but you can tell the difference between a colorized photo versus a photo that had color when the picture was taken. And so there's things like that, but the thing was that I couldn't prove to the person that the photo wasn't colorized. So I was just like, I'll have to delete this because this person has overwhelming evidence that the ship has had orange, like Cunard orange funnels. But the thing is like, and my friend Chris was like, well, Alex, he's like, there obviously the Queen Mary's been around for so long. Who's to say that there wasn't a chance that one day, not one day, but, one season, her funnels were red. He goes, you should just keep the thing up. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is like, I have to deal with evidence. That's what I do. I have to deal with evidence. And if my evidence is not enough, not sufficient, I can't go with the argument. So, that's the thing. I may not be a historian, but I try to hold myself up to the same standards. But the one thing they did prove me wrong on, and I admitted I was wrong, was part of the claim was that I said when the Queen Mary left John Brown shipyards and was transferred to Cunard, she had red funnels. They were able to prove to me I was wrong. The way they did it was they bombasted me with all kinds of stuff and laughed at me. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, it looks like you guys are right. You guys have all the information. You proved me wrong. So I'll make a change to my post. I have no problem doing that. That's what I do. But people, like I said, they make it a competition to take me down. And so that's why they are so rude. I can't stand rudeness. I can deal with a lot of stuff. I can deal with people being angry. I can deal with a lot of stuff. But one thing I can't stand is rudeness. I don't, yeah. Tyler says, and that's why I'm off Facebook indefinitely. As bad as it can be sometimes, I prefer Facebook over Twitter. Twitter is worse. Oh my Lord. I stopped going on Twitter because it's just worse. It's like Facebook but dialed up to 10. It's just so bad. Glenn says, I would debate you in chat if I thought you were wrong, but would do it in the right way and not put down our argument. Yeah. If someone says kindly, oh, hey, Alex, I think you might have that incorrect. Here's some stuff that I think really happened. I'm totally fine with it. Yeah, I just have a problem with people who, like, there's been some people who immediately they go, you're wrong, wrong, wrong. You don't know anything that you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And then when I say, okay, well, show me where I'm wrong, show me, like, some references to why you're right. And they won't do it. They'll just keep, keep getting angry and stuff. And I'm like, how am I supposed to learn anything if you won't reference anything? It's just like, you know. But yeah, if someone's going to be like, hey, I think that might be incorrect information, blah blah blah, you know, I'll be like, oh, okay, and then I'll look into it further and I'll see if I'm. And sometimes I'm wrong. You know, it's like I tell people, like, I'm human. I get things wrong sometimes. Even my video, I did a Rolling Mary video, and I didn't really get anything wrong in that video, but what I didn't do was I didn't put the information as to why the ship rolled in that video. So I took the video down, I plan to put it back up with updated information. I don't mind doing that, you know, to a certain extent. But yeah, I don't mind doing that. I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, but some people, they make it like a sport to like hunt down YouTubers who are wrong. It's incredible. Ken says, Alex, I'm old enough to remember seeing the spruce goose in the dome in Long Beach, and I'm building a model of it soon. I'm going to paint the model white like the plane was in the dome. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, when I went to visit the spruce goose a couple weeks ago, I ended up buying a toy of it, and I have it in my cupboard. If you guys want to see it, I'll go get it real quick. But yeah, it's a little toy, and it was pretty cool, but it does need to get some paint touch-ups. Like, the propellers need to be painted black, and they're not. So I think eventually when I get all my painting supplies, I'm going to update the little toy with, like, the proper paint for the propellers. Let's see. More Dog says, I'm wondering what will happen to room B340 since they did close it for 30 years at one point. I don't think anything will happen to room B340. I think that when the ship reopens for tours, B340 will reopen for tours. The only reason why it was closed for 30 years was because they didn't need it at the time. They only had the money to repurpose certain rooms into proper staterooms. And when the Queen Mary came into Long Beach, room B340 was actually like 4 or 5 different third-class rooms. So what they did with the ship was they gutted all the third-class rooms. B340 was one of them. It wasn't B340 back then. It was like there were like 5 different rooms. But they gutted that, and they only had the money to turn certain first and second class rooms into hotel rooms. And then they were planning on refurbishing some of the third class rooms into hotel rooms. But they never got around to B340. It was at the bottom of the ship in terms of the hotel portion. It was at the bottom all the way in the back. So they didn't waste any money on it. And it sat empty for 30 years because they never needed it. And then finally when Disney came, they were like, how can we make the ship even more interesting without spending too much money? And then they thought, oh, we'll call it Haunted. So they turned Disney turned B340 into an attraction. They created all these stories around that room. None of the stories can actually be linked to that room. And then they installed special effects and things, the faucets opening and closing, the stuff in the closets moving and stuff like that. So that way when people enter the room, they could see that stuff. But yeah, that's why it was empty for 30 years. LMG Vids is in the chat. He says, well, Alex, obviously, the Queen Mary's funnels were blue. Yes, they were. Blue, in the sense that if you stare at the red funnels long enough and you look away, you'll see blue. Glenn says, I think you've shown enough evidence. I see red funnels and support and agree with your comment. Thanks. Conrad says, Alex, do people nitpick between the funnels being red or orange, i.e. the shade of red? What color were they if not red? You just mentioned yellow, then when did red start? So, the Queen Mary's funnels, and this is what most people can agree on at least, they've always been some kind of orange. And the orange shade has changed over the years. They repainted the Queen Mary's funnels about once a year, so they never got too faded, but they were repainted once a year. And but yeah, they were essentially, I don't know what the shades of orange are called, but you can just imagine they went anywhere from being red orange to regular orange to being almost like a peachy orange. And when I say yellow, I meant more closer to peachy orange. It's still a type of orange, but it just looks yellow. So yeah, it has changed. But I think some people don't like the idea that the colors were more complicated than orange. So they just say Cunard orange, and they pretend like no other shade existed, which is ridiculous because, as my friend Chris would point out, you look at the Cunard ships today, you know, QE2, Queen Mary 2, they have clearly red funnels, you know, and they do kind of fade to being orange after a couple of months. So he does have a point, you know, it could have started off as a really dark red and got faded into an orange color. I can't say, though, when I think the ship had red funnels, because while I do have a picture of the ship in the early 1950s wearing her red funnels, I don't know what year that was or what season it was. It does look like it was a clear day, but I can't tell what season it was. But there is also another really hard evidence, because you guys have probably seen a picture of the QE, the QE, Queen Elizabeth, in my videos, and even in the thumbnail of my recent video, was she faster, the QE2, or QE, I'm sorry. That the QE had red funnels, bright red fire truck funnels. So is it really so hard to believe that the same year they painted QE's red funnels red, that maybe they had the same paint and painted Queen Mary's funnels red? I mean, is it so hard to believe that people were just like, no, they used two different paints during that season? Well, why? Why would they do that? Why would they buy two different paints in bulk when they could just buy one shade to cover them all? So yeah, that's my little rant about that. But yeah, I know people support my channel, and I shouldn't take comments too seriously, like bad comments too seriously. But it's one of those things that it's easier said than done. It's easy to say, oh, well, don't let that get to you, but I don't. I mean, if someone is obviously being stupid, then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to pay attention to that. But if someone really hits a chord, if there's something that I feel like they're right about some things, then that kind of thing will eventually get under my skin. Especially people who like to harass. They like to just bombard you with negative comments. And I will eventually have to remove them from the channel. But nevertheless, you know, it's easy to say don't let it get to you, but when you're dealing with it every single day of your life for 5 years, that kind of thing, it gets to you. And so, yeah, it's just, you know. And I have friends that say don't let it get to you, but then I see stuff get to them, and I'm like, well, why are you telling me don't let it get to you? It gets to you. But yeah, you know who you are. But but yeah, so yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I want to do the Spruce Goose video too. It's just I have so much on my list right now, and I can't get the videos out fast enough. I just can't. Like, I'm one person by myself, and I do need to get the videos out faster. It's not a matter of want, it's a matter of making a certain amount of money every month. And so, in order to be able to pay my bills and stuff like that. So, it makes me mad that I can't get the videos out faster. I can only work at a certain pace. So, NCC638 says, do you think they can actually do anything with the SS United States considering it's gutted inside? I don't want to say like never, you know, it's like they say never, but I don't see, for any financial reason, people able to do anything with that ship. Because of the fact that it is gutted, and it is in terrible shape. It would just be a lot more money than the Queen Mary to restore it. And then the question after that is, where are you going to put it? And how much is it going to cost to put it there? So, all those expenses, I don't see it happening. The Queen Mary, at least, is built up. The Queen Mary has things for people to see once they are fixed up. So at least there's an end goal in sight. Like, the Queen Mary's been operating, so you know what she can pull in. At worst, you know what she can pull in. So there is an idea of what you'll get back in return if you refurbish the Queen Mary. But the SS United States, there's no telling if it'll be a success if you spend $800 million refurbishing it, and then, you know, $30,000 a month on port fees, if that's even what it is. It might be $90,000 or something, or even worse. It could be like $100,000 a month in port fees. You know, you never really know what's going to happen. So that's why it's been kind of a financial risk trying to do something for the SS United States. Is you start to wonder at what point does it become not worth it? But I mean, then again, never say never. You never know if, like, Elon Musk is going to come in and be like, I want that SS United States, you know, like, and then refurbish it and, you know, all that stuff. So you never know. You never know. LMG Vid says, when the Queen Mary was being refurbished in Long Beach, they used paint from Cunard for the funnels, and for the first week or so, the funnels were bright red. No, I didn't know that. You know, I love the Golden Gate Bridge's red color. There's something very special about it. International Orange, that's what it's called. International Orange. Beautiful color. Strasbourg says, what type of tea are you drinking? I am drinking Twining's Earl Grey. A real English tea. Well, now, everybody, I can't make everybody a moderator. Because then who will moderate the moderators? Paint all funnels rainbow colors. Yeah. More Dog says, what will happen to the Queen Mary davits? I have not been in touch with updates recently, so I'm starting to catch up. The davits will stay. I know that they removed the davits on the QE2, but that's because those davits were designed to be removed. But the Queen Mary's davits are part of the structure of the sun deck and the promenade deck, so they have to stay. And will they be refurbished? That's for the future to decide. At the moment, there's no currently in motion plans to refurbish them, but ultimately, with the end goal in sight, they will be included in a all-around refurbishment that they will decide on in the future. So I think the Port Authority, when they eventually have control of the Queen Mary, it might be a year from now, it might be 2 years from now, when that happens, then they'll go forward with phase 2 of the ship's repairs, which include an all-around refurbishment. So that's probably when we'll see the davits repaired. And maybe that's when we'll see replica lifeboats put up there. That would be cool to see replica lifeboats on the Queen Mary. But at the moment, there's no plans in the works for that. So, Ken says, I have an unusual fascination with the Queen Mary's propeller box, as I have major submechnophobia, which is a fear of large objects underwater. Can you do a short vid on the prop box sometime? Yeah, I can do that. Let's see. Glenn says, if we watch a video, do you only get 1 view per user if I leave your channel on autoplay all day while at work? Would that get you revenue? I get revenue every time someone watches. So even if it's the same if you watch it over again and you watch the commercials, then I get the revenue from that. I've had family members who put the videos on and put them on all day. I don't know if YouTube has a way of mitigating that. I don't know if they have a way of stopping that. So I don't know. I think honestly what works best is just to watch the videos when they come out or soon after. But nevertheless, yeah, I wouldn't go through the trouble of just having my videos on loop. Just occasionally watch a video. So, Jake says 1.5 hour mark. That was like 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Thomas Brooks says, Alex, how interested are you in the SS United States? Not at all. I'm not interested in liners that are after the Second World War. I only like pre-war liners, and even some of them at that. Not all of them. Glenn says, I think Alex has another hour in him yet. No, I don't. I have maybe another 15 minutes in me. I am already exhausted because before I did this, I did a practice live stream before this, and it was just And I do have to get back to working on my Normandy video. I'm almost done editing that video, and then I can probably publish that on Saturday. So, yeah. Saturday. And I'll probably have another video out on Tuesday of some kind. So, if you guys liked my video about the funnels, that's a style of video I'm trying out right now because it's faster to produce. It doesn't require as much time to edit it together. So, so if you like that, I'll try to put out more videos like that, so that way I can get a more consistent schedule going, and maybe in that way I'll have more time to work on everything. Because if there's a lot of quick and easy videos I can make that come out all the time, then I can spend more time on getting the more documentary style videos going. Night Vaz says, what ship is more beautiful, Queen Elizabeth or Queen Mary? In my opinion, Queen Elizabeth. In my opinion, I like the Queen Mary more. I think the Queen Mary is more beautiful than the Queen Elizabeth. But the Queen Elizabeth is a good runner-up, in my opinion, because I do think Queen Elizabeth is quite beautiful in her own way. But I just prefer Queen Mary more, because the Queen Mary looks more Art Deco. Queen Elizabeth looks more 1940s-ish, even though I know she was launched in 1938, but still, she looks more like the 1940s. Queen Elizabeth looks Art Deco-y, so I prefer Art Deco. So, Strasbourg says, on Sunday I'm going to see the SS United States since I'm going to pass it on my way to Atlantic City for vacation. Awesome. Let's see. Thank you, Tyler, for the happy wishes. What? Oh, about the propeller. Okay. I was reading somebody else's comment about the propeller. Armor's Queen Mary says, if you had a chance to go to Dubai to see the QE2, would you go? It depends on what that chance means. If it means like, oh, I don't know, some really awesome person donated to my channel and it's like, here, take a plane, go to Dubai, stay on the ship, film it, then I'd say, yeah, let's do it. But I don't want to save up money for that. I'd rather save up money for my transatlantic crossing on the Queen Mary 2, which I plan to do with LMG Vids, who's in the chat right now. Or at least I hope he's still in the chat. But yeah, so I'd rather save up money for that. Yeah, I don't really... The QE2 is cool, and I do eventually want to make a video about the QE2. But I've kind of decided that it's not my priority. It's really far from here, and it's a really expensive trip to get there. Alright, so Jake says, have a good night, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Thank you all for that lovely talk. Thank you, Jake. I know that was 6 minutes ago, but if you end up watching this, I'll see you later. Adventures with the Stones says, Alex, hope all is well. Come visit Orlando soon. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about Orlando. Tyler says, Alex, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't get ads. How does that work for you? I still get a certain percentage from people who watch using YouTube Premium, so don't worry. S. Karthik says, if Queen Elizabeth would not have been destroyed in Hong Kong, what possible future would she have had? I think she would have ended up like the Queen Mary, to be honest, where she's probably sitting at a dock somewhere, and people are trying to get her restored. I think that's probably honestly where it would have gone. Jake asks, oh, before I go, is there going to be an Alex Adner live stream tonight? I don't know. Maybe, but I am very busy, so I don't know. I skipped it last night because I was like, I was too tired. I was working on so much stuff. But maybe. There might be one tonight. We'll see. As Karthik says, would Queen Elizabeth still exist today like her sister? Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say because I want to say yes, but then look at how Queen Mary is treated. And Queen Mary is lucky to still be around. Glenn says, did you watch the new Queen Anne video, by the way? She's a big, heavy lady, but has an Art Deco feel in this... Excuse me. See, I'm getting tired. Yes, I did see the Queen Anne video. It's okay, but I don't like the Queen Anne as much as... I'm not a cruise ship person, but I do like the Cunard cruise ships more than all other cruise ships. So... but I'm not a cruise ship person. Jamie Wilson says, I believe you said in the live stream earlier this week that you weren't a fan of the Queen Mary being a hotel in the future. Thoughts on it still being an event venue for receptions, etc.? Well, I am... So, it's a complicated emotion. Yes, I like the idea that people can stay on the Queen Mary and experience overnight what it's like to be a passenger. The problem is that along with that happiness comes the people who like to vandalize the ship. So while I do like the idea that she's a hotel, part of me doesn't like it because then people steal things and vandalize the ship. And the Queen Mary, there's only one of her. You can repair and repair and repair, but then at one point does she stop being an original ship? Then again, she's still mostly all original. There's still a lot of original stuff on the ship. It's ridiculous, like, how well preserved she is compared to what she could be right now. But nevertheless, would I still want her to be an event venue for like receptions and things? I feel like events and receptions should be done off the ship. That's just my opinion. And the reason why is because every time you bring in a new venue and a setup, they always end up damaging the ship somehow. You know, something gets broken, something gets hammered into, something gets, damaged. And so just that wear and tear, that constant wear and tear, is just not good for the ship. So, I don't know. But that's just my opinion. That doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just my opinion. So, Mordog says, well, I might start going. Looks like a storm is coming. Can't tell. It might turn off the power. Alright, see you later, Mordog. S. Karthik says, what is the time over there? It's early morning here. Over here it is 5:52 p.m. We started this live stream about 4:20 p.m. just about. I was about 20 minutes late. Armis Queen Mary says, I wanted to be a moderator, but it's okay. I know, but I can't make everybody a mod. I made like 6 moderators today. That's a bit much for me, because I don't want everybody to have a moderator. I don't want everyone to be a moderator, because... yeah. It also creates problems, because I knew as soon as I said, let's make some moderators today, I knew everybody wanted to be a moderator. And I don't like that kind of divisiveness. I wouldn't normally have moderators on my channel, but I really do need them. I just don't need that many of them. That's the thing. As Karthik says, which ship was more unstable, Queen Mary or Queen Elizabeth? Well, I don't like to use the term unstable because that's not the right term for what it was. Queen Mary was more susceptible to rolling. But yeah, so between the two ships, Queen Mary rolled a bit more than Queen Elizabeth. But Queen Elizabeth still rolled pretty badly as well. So I don't want to like downgrade the Queen Elizabeth because Queen Elizabeth really did roll pretty badly. But Queen Mary rolled worse, from what I hear. I wasn't there, so I can't really say. But yeah. So. Glenn says, Alex, it's 1 a.m. here and you're the one yawning. I know. I stayed up so late last night working on stuff, and then I woke up late today, but as soon as I woke up today, I didn't even have breakfast. I didn't even get my day started like I usually do. Like, when I wake up, I like to put on Malcolm in the Middle, and then I make my breakfast, and then after I eat my breakfast and finish watching a couple episodes of Malcolm in the Middle, I go online, I check my messages, I have this whole routine. But I've been in such a rush to put out videos recently. I haven't been able to stick to my routine, and yeah, I've just had like really one heck of a day. I spent the whole first half of today writing up stuff for tomorrow, because tomorrow was the live stream where I talk with QMI and we do an interview about what's going on with the city. So I had to write up some questions and prepare some settings for the live stream and stuff like that. You know, basically prepare everything for tomorrow, so that way I'm not doing it all last minute. So, anyway, when I do my live streams with you guys, I have to find a way to get my lapel microphone to work from this distance, because I have to shout when I talk to you guys, and it makes my voice so hoarse. As Karthik says, which state do you live in? I live in Oregon. Hello, Jeffrey. How's it going? Let's see. Yeah. Alright, you guys. I'm going to end the live stream because I think it's gone on for long enough. And I will have to start preparing for dinner, and then I have some more things to do. I might end up doing a live stream on my second channel, Alex Adner, where I'll probably play a game or something tonight with my friends if they have the availability. So, yeah. So, be aware that I might be on the other channel later today, after, like, 8 or 9 p.m. Pacific time. And then tune in tomorrow for the special interview live stream that I'm doing with QMI. It'll be very interesting. It'll last about an hour, and then there'll be a Q&A afterwards. And then I'm hoping to have my Normandy video posted on Saturday at like noon Pacific time. And then I'm thinking Tuesday will be another video of some kind. I'm not sure yet, but it might be another quick video like I did with the funnels. So it might be like that kind of a video. Okay, I'll look into it, Ken. And see you later, Glenn. And Jamie Wilson, thank you so much. Thanks, Alex. Agree on event venue. Stayed on her December 2003 and saw a drunk Santa wandering the decks after he was done at a Christmas party. Awful. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Yeah. When I was at the Queen Mary as a teenager, my voice is getting hoarse from shouting. When I was on the Queen Mary as a teenager, my dad and I were just walking the ship, and we stayed till nighttime, and there was some kind of event going on, and there was a bunch of middle-aged drunk people wandering the ship that day. I was like, oh my god. I saw one guy puke against a wall, and I was like, oh no, that must be so terrible for, like, the ship. Like, all the old wood paneling soaking in people's vomit. Like, ugh. Ugh. What can you do? All right. See you later, Glenn. See you later, Tyler. See you later, Queen Mary. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next tea time on Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye-bye, everybody.